And he answered, saying, This high mountain which you have seen, whose summit is like the throne of Elohim, is his throne, where the Kodesh Great One, Yahweh of esteem, the eternal sovereign, will sit when he shall come down to visit the earth with goodness. And as for this fragrant tree, no mortal is permitted to touch it till the great judgment, when he shall take vengeance on all and bring to its end forever. It shall then be given to the righteous and the Kodesh. Its fruit shall be food to the elect. It shall be transplanted to the Kodesh place, to the Heichal of Yahweh, the eternal sovereign. Then they shall rejoice with joy and be glad, and into the Kodesh place they shall enter, and its fragrance shall be in their bones. And they shall live a long life on earth, such as your fathers lived. You know, going back to Methuselah, 900, 1,000 years. And in their days shall no sorrow or plague or torment or calamity touch them. Isn't that something that Hanok was amazed at the fragrance of this tree, and Michael tells him that the fragrance of this tree shall be in their bones. Verse 7, Then I barach the Elohim of esteem, the eternal sovereign, who has prepared such matters for the righteous, and has created them and promised to give them. Chapter 26, And I went from there to the middle of the earth, and I saw a baruk place, in which there were trees with branches abiding and blooming. And there I saw a Kodesh mountain, and underneath the mountain to the east there was a stream, and it flowed towards the south. And I saw towards the east another mountain higher than this, and between them a deep and narrow ravine, wherein also ran a stream underneath the mountain. And to the west of there was another mountain, lower than the former, and of small height, and a ravine deep and dry between them. And another deep and dry ravine was at the extremities of the three mountains. And all the ravines were deep and narrow, of hard rock, and trees were not planted upon them. And I marveled at the rocks, and I marveled at the ravine. Truly, I marveled very much. Chapter 27. Then I said, For what object is this baruk land, which is entirely filled with trees, and this accursed valley between? Then Uriel, one of the Kodesh messengers who was with me, answered and said, This accursed valley is for those who are accursed forever. There shall all the accursed be gathered together, who utter with their lips against Yahweh indecent words, and of his esteem speak harshness. I can't help but think at this moment of the name Jehovah. Because, it says, Here shall all the accursed be gathered together, who utter with their lips against Yahweh indecent words, and of his esteem speak harshness. people who call him Jehovah, they don't know this. They've been deceived by the agents of the enemy. Agents appear in many forms. But you know, Jehovah, again, I have videos about this, that's for sure. Yahovah. The name was concocted by a Catholic monk. I think it was in the 1800s. I mean, that's pretty recent. But if you take it apart, in the Hebrew, it means Yah, that's Yahweh, and Hova means chaos, ruin, destruction, and mischief. Who does that define? Satan. So really, Jehovah curses the Father and basically says that Yahweh is Satan. Yahovah means Yahweh is chaos, ruin, destruction, and mischief. So, and again, you know, people use this name innocently. They don't know they're being deceived by the enemy. And as I said in the introduction to this, this whole study on Hanok, names are important, and the enemy has really done a great job at messing with names, hasn't he? So anyway, this accursed valley is for those who utter with their lips against Yahweh indecent words of his esteem, or rather, and of his esteem speak harshness. Verse 3, here shall they be gathered together, and here shall be their place of judgment in the last days. There shall be upon them the spectacle of righteous judgment in the presence of the righteous forever. Here shall the compassionate Barach Yahweh of esteem, the eternal sovereign. In the days of judgment over the former, they shall barach him for the compassion in accordance with which he has assigned them. Then I barach Yahweh of esteem, and proclaimed his esteem, and exalted him magnificently. Chapter 28, and then I went towards the east, into the midst of the mountain range of the desert, and I saw a wilderness, and it was solitary, full of trees and plants, and water gushed forth from above, rushing like a plentiful watercourse towards the northwest. It caused clouds and dew to ascend on every side. Chapter 29, and then I went to another place in the desert and approached to the east of this mountain range. And there I saw aromatic trees exhaling the fragrance of frankincense and myrrh. And the trees also were similar to the almond tree. Chapter 30, and beyond these I went far to the east, and I saw another place, a valley of water. And therein there was a tree, the color of fragrant trees, such as the gum tree. And on the sides of those valleys I saw fragrant cinnamon. And beyond these I proceeded to the east. Chapter 31, and I saw other mountains, and amongst them were groves of trees, and their sweet liquid flowed forth from them, which is named Sarara and Galbanam. And beyond these mountains I saw another mountain to the east of the ends of the earth, whereon were aloe trees, and all the trees were full of incense, being like almond trees. And when one burnt it, it smelled sweeter than any fragrant odor. And when one burnt it, you know, it seems to me he's being very brief about, as intense as all of this is, Obviously, he saw some of it being burned, or was with some people who were burning it, or burnt some of it himself so that he knew this. But, he doesn't go into detail about how he knows that when one burnt it, it smelled sweeter than any fragrant odor. Chapter 32. And after these fragrant odors, as I looked towards the north over the mountains, I saw 7 mountains full of choice nard and fragrant trees and cinnamon and pepper. And then I went over the summits of all these mountains far towards the east of the earth, and passed above the eastern sea, and went far from it, and passed over the messenger Zotiel. And I came to the garden of righteousness, and saw beyond those trees many large trees growing there, and of pleasant fragrance, large, very pleasant and great, and the tree of wisdom, of which they eat and know great wisdom. He's seeing trees and smelling trees that were like unto the trees in the garden before the fall. And I've said this before in a number of my videos, we have zero idea of what the earth was like before the flood, much less before the fall. But, we're getting a little bit of a glimpse here, the smells, the size. You eat the fruit and obtain great wisdom. Verse 4, that tree is in height like the fir, and its leaves are like the carob tree, and its fruit is like the clusters of the vine, very lovely, and the fragrance of the tree penetrates afar. Then I said, how lovely is the tree, and how good to look at! Then Raphael, the Kodesh messenger who was with me, answered me and said, this is the tree of wisdom, of which our elderly father and your aged mother who were before you have eaten. And they learned wisdom, and their eyes were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they were driven out of the garden. He's looking at that tree. We see this tree again in the book of Revelation. It's in the Kodesh city of Shamayim now. Chapter 33. And from there I went to the ends of the earth and saw there great beasts, and each differed from the other, and birds also differing in appearance and form and voice, the one differing from the other. And to the east of those beasts I saw the ends of the earth, whereon the Shamayim rests, and the portals of the Shamayim open. And I saw how the stars of the Shamayim come forth, and I counted the portals out of which they proceed, and wrote down all their outlets of each individual star by itself, according to their number and their names, their courses and their positions and their times and their months, as Uriel, the Kodesh messenger, who was with me, showed me. Hanok, boy, he must have had a lot of books. And, this is what we This is what we have, what's left. He wrote down quite a bit of stuff, didn't he? Verse 4. He showed all matters to me and wrote them down for me. Also, their names he wrote for me, and their laws and their beginnings. Gee whiz. Not only did Hanok have a lot of books that he wrote, but he had books that that had the penmanship of Uriel in it. Chapter 34. And from there I went towards the north to the ends of the earth, and there I saw a great and magnificent object at the ends of the whole earth. And here, Yahweh of hosts, I saw 3 portals of the Shamayim open in the Shamayim. Through each of them proceed north winds. When they blow, there is cold, hail, frost, snow, dew, and rain. And out of one portal they blow for good. But when they blow through the other 2 portals, it is with violence and affliction on the earth, and they blow with violence. Chapter 35. And from there I went towards the west to the ends of the earth, and saw there 3 portals of the Shamayim open, such as I had seen in the east, the same number of portals, and the same number of outlets. Chapter 36. And from there I went to the south, to the ends of the earth, and saw there 3 open portals of the Shamayim. And then there come dew, rain, and wind. And from there I went to the east, to the ends of the Shamayim, and saw where the 3 eastern portals of the Shamayim open, and small portals above them. Through each of these small portals pass the stars of the Shamayim, and run their course to the west on the path which is shown to them. And as often as I saw, I barach always Yahweh of esteem, and I continued to barach Yahweh of esteem, who has wrought great and magnificent wonders, to show the greatness of his work to the messengers and to spirits and to men, that they might praise his work and all his creation, that they might see the work of his might and praise the great work of his hands, and barach him forever. And so we close on the Book of Watchers. Next time, we're going to look at the parables. There are 3 of them. Shalom.